So Asperger's syndrome, it's difficult to boil down to a single thing because what it comes down to is that your brain is, for lack of a better term, wired differently than other people's. And Asperger's syndrome is a specific brain rewiring that has a bunch of different effects, and it manifests in a bunch of different ways. But I would say that the most important manifestation of Asperger's syndrome is the inability to learn social skills through osmosis. Most children, when they grow up, humans are social creatures. They run into other people, and those people try to socially interact with them, and they just sort of build up a library of social protocol, what to do in certain situations through osmosis. They just absorb it gradually as they grow up. People with Asperger, whatever mechanism is responsible for absorbing social knowledge, it doesn't work as well. And so because of that, we often grow up not knowing how to interact with others socially, and because of that we often end up being seen as the weird kids, and that's not necessarily because we want to be weird, it's because we don't know how to act normal. I would say that even though there's a lot of stuff that goes into Asperger's syndrome, if you're meeting somebody with Asperger's syndrome and you're unfamiliar with it, your primary view would be, this person is weird and I'm not exactly sure why, and it's because of the lack of social skills that they have. Asperger's is on the autism spectrum, so it is related to autism, but it isn't autism. There are some things that make it different. For one, people with Asperger's syndrome tend to be more interested in social interaction than people with autism do, so they try to socially interact anyway in a way that autistic people often don't. But again, because it's all on the spectrum, there are some lines and it's blurred, and sometimes it's difficult to peg down exactly what Asperger's syndrome is and what it isn't, and I'd recommend you talk to a psychologist instead of just somebody who has it, because I'm most used to my condition, not how the condition is generally. I believe that it's called Asperger's syndrome due to the researcher who first named it, and I guess discovered it, in that they found that there was a category of people who are all exhibiting different symptoms. You're saying, how does it manifest with other people? I know that for some people, myself included, often Asperger's syndrome could also come along with sensory overload, that an inability to differentiate between important and unimportant signals in the world around you. So just the feeling of your clothes on your skin is something that a lot of people are able to tune out more often than, for instance, I would be. So I tend to wear more softer, more comfortable clothing in order to try and reduce the unnecessary stimulation. Things like that. People are more flexible when they have Asperger's syndrome. It's something that that's been proven. There's a correlation between flexibility and where you are on the autism spectrum. I don't even pretend to understand why that is, but I can't put my feet behind my head. There's a lot of things that goes into Asperger's syndrome that I think are kind of tangential to what most people with Asperger's syndrome would define as their main problem if they were asked, how does it feel to be Aspie? So.